Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our add-ons community meeting for July 13th, 2020. It's been a while since we last met as a community. So I just want to thank Jorge and Atik for being here today and for everybody watching on Air Mozilla at some point, some other point in time. I want to go ahead and start us off by giving a quick shout out to two awesome friends of add-ons. So Andre did something really awesome a few weeks ago. He added some more advanced colors to the color picker for Firefox Color, which is our advanced theming extension and web property. So these optional theme properties have been supported by Firefox, but they weren't options available in the Firefox Color UI. So Andre submitted a patch that would kind of let people be able to view those advanced options and have a little bit more flexibility in the UI when they customize their theme. So it's super cool. We're going to be releasing a new version of Firefox Color pretty soon. It's going to include Andre's changes and a few other changes that came in as part of our work on kind of fixing some of the major user annoyances earlier on. So thank you so much, Andre. It's really cool. And hopefully we'll be able to do something like that for the AMO theme generator sometime in the near future. So thank you. I also want to give a thanks to Arpan Patel for hosting a Build Your Extension workshop in Gujarat over the weekend. Arpan, thanks so much for hosting. I look forward to see how it went and learn a little bit more about how the community responded to it. So thanks so much. So I wanted to just quickly check in. It looks like folks are a little quiet this morning, but I'm hoping that folks can just kind of like fill in the document how they're doing, if things are going okay, or if things have, maybe been a little bit rough the last couple of weeks. I know personally speaking, the US is still kind of not doing great with the whole pandemic thing. So anyway, I hope that wherever you are, you're doing safe and taking care of yourself. And then, yeah, I just wanted to rewind a couple of weeks back to our all hands. So Mozilla has a biannual all hands where everybody gets together. And because of the pandemic, we had to move our most recent one virtually. And so we did that a couple of weeks ago. And I think it was pretty successful, all things considered, because everybody is in different time zones and we have some really big gaps in those time zones. We didn't have a lot of time to kind of sit down as a group, but what we tried to do is we tried to have a couple of hours a day where we could kind of come together, review some of the plans that had been made, and then just have an opportunity to check in with each other and, have some of those interpersonal connections that just makes doing the work a lot easier. I was really excited that we were joined by some really great contributors and some of our interns, including Atik. It was really great to have them there and be part of the process of team building and seeing what their work is going to support later on in the year. So we don't really have too many public announcements from the all hands. Work is still continuing on the Web Extensions API in Phoenix, which is our new Firefox for Android product that is moving closer to official release. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, and then some plans on the engineering side for both AMO and Firefox. So that includes more work on the Web Extensions API, which is always there. A couple of new programs that we're going to be piloting. Well, one new program that we're going to be piloting in AMO in H2. We'll talk a little bit more about that probably at a later date. It does tie into our monetization research that we started earlier this year about how we can help support content creators on AMO. And a couple of things on the technical side, including like security mitigations. So how we proactively and reactively deal with add-on security. So yeah, if you attended the all hands, I would just low-key love to hear your thoughts on how it went. I think one thing that we can do a better job in the future is make more folks who have been NDA'd through Mozilla aware of some of the plenaries that were going on, and doing a better job of kind of like creating a little nook, like a little communications nook where we could all kind of sit down and chat about some of the content that was being shared in the plenaries or in the team meetings. Because the plenaries, so if you are NDA'd by Mozilla, you can access the plenaries on Air Mozilla. They are fascinating, and they are super interesting. I'm gonna throw the caveat out there that like some of them can get pretty intense. So just take a deep breath and breathe through the discomfort. I would really recommend Dr. Noble's research or presentation on algorithms of oppression, which is also available as a book. It's pretty crazy. It's about how technical choices that we make can help exacerbate institutional racism and make lives really painful for people who are not in power. So yeah, so super interesting. Anyway, so if you're not under an NDA, but you're interested in checking out that content, please feel free to contact me and let me know. I'd be happy to talk to you a little bit more about how we can make that content available to you. So we've also had a couple of announcements come in over the last couple of weeks. So hopefully y'all have been following the Add-ons blog or our Twitter account at MozAMO. And this stuff is not super new, but we have new stats processing on AMO. So we've done some work to change where our data sources for usage stats come from. Previously, they had come from daily update pings to AMO. That's been moved now to telemetry. So some numbers may be a little bit different, as we do offer users a way of opting out of telemetry data. So that means that when users turn that off, we don't see their telemetry data, and so that can affect the AMO stats processing. We also have an ask for some developers around this. So one of the challenges about this is that we don't have a lot of data available from working add-ons on our dev and stage environments. And so when we try to verify if things are working, it can be a little bit of a challenge. So we're actually interested, if it's okay with some of our developer audience, if you feel comfortable doing this, what we would like to do is be able to copy over your production database over to our dev and stage environments so that we can verify if anything has kind of broken our new stats processing. So we're doing this now with some of the Mozilla line extensions, including Firefox Color, Firefox Notes, Facebook Container, multi-account containers. But we're still looking for a couple more examples. So if you're interested in that, please feel free to let me know, and I can put you in touch with the engineers who are working on that. The downside about the only thing about doing that is that if something goes wrong, your add-ons usage stats may become public, so other people can see it. Right now, they're private. That's the only risk. Otherwise, nothing else should change. Otherwise, like there's not really any risk to you other than your usage data becoming public. So yeah, so that's been a fun experience. I think we've heard from a couple of developers about this, and we're still getting a couple of bugs in. So if you see a bug, we do encourage you to file that so we can investigate it. We also made an update to our add-ons linter to support more JavaScript syntax. So before, we had been running pretty far behind on what's generally considered acceptable JavaScript code. We've updated now. We're still a couple of versions behind. We're going to try to not let it lag so much in the future. But if folks are interested in kind of helping out with the linter, we definitely accept contributions. And sorry, I just got pinged privately, so broke my train of thought. And yeah, we could definitely use some help with that, just so that developers who are used to having their JavaScript code work aren't surprised when the validator for AMO gives them a warning because it's a little out of date. We're also shipping some changes to the storage.sync area for Firefox 79. So this is a little bit late breaking. Firefox 79 is going to start shipping at the end of the month. But basically, if your extension uses that area to sync data between multiple devices that are connected through a Firefox account, we're just asking you to test this out because client-side data quotas are now being enforced. And so if your users encounter that, they may experience some problems. So we're just asking you to take a look at that before it hits release. And then more extensions are now available for the new Firefox for Android. Firefox Preview, which had been the early adoption version of the new Firefox for Android, has been officially discontinued. So all new changes are now happening on either the Firefox for Android nightly channel, which is kind of the daily updates, or the Firefox for Android beta channel, which is a little bit longer. So that's a little bit closer to release. We're also getting ready to ship the final version, or not the final version, I'm sorry. We're getting ready to launch the new Firefox for Android experience to all users. So that's coming down the pike pretty quickly. And you're gonna see a new name for the new production release of Firefox for Android soon. We also have some more recommended extensions been added to the program. So thanks everyone who's a part of our recommended extensions board. Y'all are awesome for going through and taking a closer look at the nominations and vetting them. So we really appreciate all of your help with that. We're really excited to add more extensions to that program. And finally, finally, Safari has changed their extension API to be closer to the Web Extensions API. So those changes will ship with Safari 14 in the new Mac operating system, which I think is, you know what, I've completely blanked on the name of the new Mac OS system. But for folks who are not testing the new Mac OS system, the extension API will be shipping soon to Catalina and the one that isn't Catalina. Sorry, the previous, sorry, totally blanking on all of these names right now. But the previous two operating system versions. So these changes will go into effect with Safari 14. I've heard rumors that Safari has a command line tool that makes it really easy to port an extension that you have from Chrome or Firefox into Safari. If you have tried this out, let us know how the experience was. We're super curious about it. And lastly, Apple has been really great. They are helping maintain the documentation for supported APIs on MDN. So whatever you see on MDN right now should be up to date and current. So big thanks to Apple for stepping up and helping out with that. That's been really awesome to see. And hopefully this is going to make it a lot easier for extension developers to make their extensions available across some of the biggest platforms out there. Whew, that was a lot. Are there any, I'm just going to ask, are there any questions about any of the things that we just covered? I'm going to check my DMs to see. Okay, so it turns out my DM was Sylvain sending me a picture of a deer, which is really awesome. So I appreciate hearing from folks when they're on vacation. We don't have any deer here. Okay, cool. Well, as always, feel free to leave questions in the document or circle back with us on Discourse or on Matrix, and we'll do our best to get those answered. So we have a couple of things coming up. One of the big ones is we're migrating Extension Workshop to 11T. So Extension Workshop builds had been really painfully slow and would occasionally break our Circle CI because they were so slow, and it was really awful and driving our engineering manager, Stuart, like really crazy. So Stuart is working on the migration, and hopefully we'll have the site migrated soon. Some important lessons we've learned from this is that if you're building a static site that's going to serve documentation and you decide that you're no longer going to host it on github.io, maybe you don't need to use Jekyll. So that's been our biggest learning from this. We kind of had a decision process early on when we were envisioning Extension Workshop that we were going to host through github.io. And so when we went to our contractors, we asked them to build us a Jekyll website. And because we asked for it, they did. And that was an option that, maybe bore a little bit more consideration than we initially gave it. So hopefully this is going to be a lot better in the future. Early tests show that the build time for the new static site on 11D is going to be closer to 3 seconds as opposed to 13 plus minutes. This should make it a lot easier for contributors to submit changes because when they build the local version, it's not going to take 20 minutes. And when we go to check out a version, it's hopefully not going to break Circle CI when we go to look at it. So we have a couple of open bugs over there. Stuart's tackling those like a wizard. But if you're interested in that, please feel free to head on over and see if you can help out with that. Hopefully we'll have it up and running soon and it'll just be easier to make changes. And then lastly, we have show and tell this Thursday at 14:30 UTC. So I encourage you to check out your time zone converter so you can show up to that meeting and demo whatever it is you're working on. Atik, you should come and demo wherever you are in your project for Extension Activity Monitor. We would love to see what's going on over there.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
that's actually yeah, in barebone state you won't like the UI. Actually, we haven't worked on the UI that much, so it doesn't look that good.
That's totally fine. Yeah. That's totally fine. Ugly is welcome. Ugly is welcome.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is, so those are the updates that I had. I'm going to turn it over actually right now to, well, not turn it over. I'm going to gently ask Jorge. Jorge, do you have anything exciting happening this week?
This week, I don't, let me see. Yeah, I don't think I have anything new for this week. Last week, we did discover a bug in the new add-ons block list, and that means that we are going to delay the rollout for it. We were initially planning on rolling it out on 78 release, but because of this bug, we decided to hold off until 79 release. So that means that the rollout is not going to begin until a couple of weeks from now. I think it's like 2 weeks from now that we release 79. And that also means that the uplift to ESR is also going to be delayed a bit, but it's still going to be included in 78 ESR. But yeah, I think that's about it. You already mentioned the stats. The new stats should be now the new default for all add-ons. We have a couple of add-on types that weren't migrated yet, language packs and dictionaries, but we hope to get to those soon. And yeah, there are a bunch of changes coming up, but those we'll announce in due course, as you also said. So yeah, that's about it. We're starting our Q4 planning very soon. We should probably have a draft by the end of the month, but it's still very much in flux.
Q4, I'm sorry, that look on my face is unfiltered morning face. Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for sharing that, Jorge.
Sure.
Okay, so at this time, I would just like to open the floor and ask if there are any other updates or questions anybody has. I'm just gonna check Matrix really quickly. Okay. All right, well then I think we can go ahead and wrap this up. Thanks everybody for joining us and listening in this week. I hope you have a great week and we'll catch you on the flip side. Hopefully we'll catch you on Thursday at our show and tell, where we would love you to bring something to show and or tell about that's related to add-ons. So until then, take care and we'll talk to y'all later. Bye everybody.